edited version of a whole film, and even that 15 minutes, it's incredibly moving, isn't it? For those of us, this is under the radar. We'll come back to that. How do we get this up the radar so that people are aware of this issue? And the huge numbers of people that have been impacted. I want to thank those who were involved in making the film, but we've got a couple of people that we're going to get online to join us now. And Jimena Borrasas is going to talk to us about conflict-related sexual attacks in Tigray, and she is beaming in from Ukraine. So she's a couple of hours ahead of us, given the time of tonight. So I would like to welcome her to join us. And again, hope the IT works. Yep.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Perfect, thank you.
Great. Sorry, I am with a torch because we don't have light. As you know, Russia is constantly attacking the energetic infrastructure, so we are dealing with power cuts, but happily I have my internet from my mobile. So for me, it's a pleasure to be here today. It's very important. I want to say thank you to Anna for inviting me, and thanks to everyone to be here listening this important information about Tigray, because we need to be more committed with them, even if the war finish in certain way. As you know, 40% of Tigray territory is still under occupation, and many people still suffering from CRSV, conflict-related sexual violence. So now I want to share my experience with you. I am from Uruguay, South America, but I moved to Barcelona in 2019. I'm photojournalist and documentary photographer and filmmaker, and I decided to travel to Tigray the first time in May 2023, just 6 months after the peace agreement. I remember when we, with my colleague Edgar, we decided to travel to Tigray. Our first idea was to cover the general situation about the post-war. So we pitched this idea to the major medias, the biggest ones, and those editors who replied to us said no for two reasons. The first reason is this is not relevant enough. A genocide is not relevant enough. And the second reason was we do not work with freelancers in war zones. So even if we received this negative reply for some editors, we decided with my colleague Edgar to travel anyway. And I remember while we were walking through the 70 Care IDP Center, is the biggest displaced camp and refugee camp in Mekelle, capital of Tigray. I remember we realized that some women were following us with a kind of paper at their hands. So when our translator started reading those papers, he told us this paper is a proof this lady faced gang rape. So one of the ladies spoke with us and she was crying and she said, "Please help us. You are our hope, because no one," talking about journalists from abroad, come here. Because as you know, and as was mentioned here at the beginning of this session, the access for journalists was forbidden during the war, and even today is quite complicated to access there because of the restrictions from the central government. So yeah, this lady said, "Please help to us, help to share our story abroad." So this was the moment that my approach changes from the general situation about post-war to the CRSV. I traveled 3 times to Tigray. The last time was this March, thanks to the Tom Stoddart grant. It's a British grant that I won last year. It's a journalistic grant. And they gave me the money to come back to Tigray because as a freelancer, it's complicated. Travel from Spain to Ethiopia is quite expensive. So they helped me to return and to finish this work on the documentation of CRSV. So today I have a presentation that I want to show you because on my previous intervention at the British Parliament, we had the chance to have the pictures printed thanks to Mary's Mills and to the APPG, but it's not the case. So I want to share this with you. I don't know if it's possible. I will try, but I think it's quite important because you will understand the magnitude of this. Let me check if it's possible. So please let me know if you are watching the presentation.
Yeah, that's fine. It's come on at center of the screen, so that's really good. Thanks.
Great. So, well, here you have some statics, and you know the situation. You mentioned this before, so I will go just straight to the pictures that I gathered during all of these years documenting CRSV in Tigray. And I want to stop on this picture because this picture became crazy viral thanks to The Guardian. The Guardian published part of my work there. And the analysis of why this had a huge impact and why my previous reportages published on other big medias didn't have this impact is quite interesting as well. But first, I want to share with you the story of this lady. So this lady, she's a survivor of CRSV. She was during the war in Adwa. Adwa is a city quite close to the Eritrean border, and she was at her home. At that time, she gave birth twins, and one week before of the attack. So one day she was at her home, and 10 and above soldiers entered to her home. They start raping this lady in front of the newborns. She was alone with the babies. And when they finish, they rape her one by one. And when they finish, they insert a plastic bag inside her vagina with this nail cutter that you can see on the x-ray at her pelvis, her uterus, with handwritten notes with sand, stones, and other metallic objects. This lady, of course, I always change the names to protect their identities. But when I asked her, "How do you know to be called?" and she said, "I want to be called Senat." Because Senat means strength in Tigrinya language. And she wants to turn this pain into something positive, into the resilience. She wants to encourage other survivors of CRSP to tell their stories. This lady carried this plastic bag inside her womb 2 years because of the stigma, because of the lack of resources and medical supplies. So before continuing, as I told you before, I start documenting CRSV in Tigray in 2023, but the first time when I published a reportage on international media was in 2024 at a German media. It's a big media, very big. So we had certain impact, but I never expect the impact that we obtained with The Guardian. So when I had this impact, I start asking myself, why, if we talk about two biggest medias, Deutsche Welle and The Guardian? So I start asking people, what's the picture that shocks you the most? And all the people said the x-rays and the letters. So I start asking myself, why a testimony is not so powerful, because we are talking about a survivor voice, a testimony, an experience, and this should be shocking, and this should be remove hearts around the world. But wasn't the case. And why an x-ray is able to remove hearts around the world, even if it's in Canada, in US, in Brazil, Ethiopia, Spain, or whatever is the country. And the answer is because an x-ray through an X-ray, you cannot see the skin color, you cannot see the ethnia, you cannot see the religion. And sadly, we live in a very racist world when the skin color is a condition to feel empathy for other people. So this was the moment that I understood, if I want to have a huge impact, if I want to reach politics, if I want to have a change, something for the survivors, not only in Ethiopia, but also in Ukraine, also in Syria, also in other countries, I need to include this more forensic approach because these have the impact that I am looking for. So from this moment, I understood that at that time, I found a platform or maybe a format to approach CRSB in a more global way, not only in Ethiopia, but also in other countries, that as I did also in Ukraine. But we are talking about Tigray, so I will continue. This is the letter that was inside also this plastic bag. And this is the translation. So they use this women uterus as a kind of mailbox to express their happiness and their bravery for these acts. These are the objects that you saw at the X-ray. So the first, I took this picture in 2024, and at that time I asked the hospital if they had the X-rays to have like the full story, the objects inside the womb and outside to document the before and after the attack. And at that time they couldn't find at the system, so I just left Ethiopia without the X-rays. And I remember that at that time, no media wants to publish this because it's a very sensitive topic. So I use my social media. I use X at that time called Twitter, and a huge wave against to me started claiming like I was a liar, saying that these ladies were lying, that they never experienced this. So it's not only the this kind of acts at person, but also the mocking and many horrible things online against survivors of sexual violence in Tigray. This is another case, and as you can see, these women have also nails inside her body. This is the lady of the first X-ray, Senat, carrying flowers. Another letter, so another case with the translation. This is the story of Eskedar, this kid. I met this kid in 2023, the first time that I went to Tigray. So Deutsche Welle decided to give me an assignment to come back on 2024 and to go more in deep of the story of this kid. And I want to stop on this because this kid was walking with her mother through Kafta. It's a rural village near the Eritrean border. So suddenly, a group of soldiers stop them, and they start saying to the mother of this kid that you have a man in the TPLF, you have a man in the TDF, and she said, no, I do not have any husband at the TPLF. So they said, yes, you have. So at the end, they start raping the mother in front of the kid. And because of the kid start shouting to ask help, they decided to put knives on her chest and threw boiling water. This is Hyla, another survivor. And while I was interviewing her, she said to me she was kidnapped, held in a room for several days, raped several times by 14 soldiers, one by one. And at the end, because she said, I do not have any information about TDF or TPLF soldiers and so on, they decide to attack her with acidic substance on her head. So now she's fighting and dealing with this pain every day since the attack. And that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's pretty heartbreaking, isn't it? It's difficult to imagine how that would happen. So thank you so much for recording that. I think that's incredibly impactful. And thank you for joining us tonight. That's much appreciated. And for all the work you've done over the years, because having 3 trips